ecosystem on its fringes for a while. The point that Supriya Shirnet makes is you come with me to Gopalganj, Maharajganj or Gorakhpur, you ask whatever little congressmen there are still left or those who vote for the Congress, who do you want? At least those who are congressmen would say they want Rahul Gandhi. For them, Rahul Gandhi is their leader, and therefore, how can Sonia Gandhi suddenly appoint anybody else because the Chidambaram or a Kamal Nath or anybody else won't listen to, say, a young Sachin Pilot, and therefore, even if you appoint someone like Sachin Pilot, the working president, the seniors won't listen to him and he'll be ineffectual.
Rahul and Rajdeep, thank you for inviting me on your show, and I think this is a very important discussion we are having, not because it's an opportunity for me or my party to kick somebody when they are down, but more importantly, a democracy, even though we are a government that is very responsible towards the people, requires a responsible opposition to keep the government in check, and therefore I think the Congress's fortunes are very important to be discussed. And let me make a couple of points very humbly, and one should be humble in victory and one should also be self-aware in defeat, which I think friends who I had in my previous days in the Congress party lack a little bit of self-awareness, and sometimes they suffer from what I call the ostrich mindset. They are unable to see what is actually transpiring within the party and outside the party within the country. Now, Rahul, look, losing an election is not a problem in a democracy. My party, the BJP, has lost several elections. We were, in fact, a party related to the opposition for a very long period of time. But what was defining feature of BJP was never Parajay but Parishram and performance. We have never allowed Parivar to dominate Parishram and performance. Unfortunately for the Congress party, their defining feature even in defeat is no longer Parishram. See, today Rahul Gandhi will leave the Congress party, the leaders, where are they? On the very next day after the election results that we won 4 states, you saw the Prime Minister in action, our other leaders are in action, because we have the NM factor, and that doesn't mean Narendra Modi alone, it means Nirantar Mehnat. Are the Congress leaders willing to do Nirantar Mehnat? The answer is no. They are not ready for Parishram. They only believe that they should occupy a space because of some legacy of 100 years ago, and they are entitled. This sense of entitlement in the Congress party, even into the leaders of spokespersons of the Congress party when they represent themselves on TV. हमने ये 100 साल पहले किया था, इसलिए हम ही सत्ता के लिए लायक है. This kind of mindset, the people of this country are no longer takers of this. And thirdly, if I could sum up, and Rajdeep always likes my alliteration, so I will just tell you what Congress needs is Vikas. What does Vikas mean? Vikas, not the one that we have given in the 4 states where we won, but Vikas means V for vision, I for ideological clarity, K for karmatta, A for aspiration and Anushasan, aspiration for the country, Anushasan within the system, and S for system and a plan for Samajik Kalyan. All this Vikas is missing in the Congress party. It is only Putra Mo, not Party Mo, and they keep Parivar above Party. This is the real
big
reason
man. When it comes to abbreviations and alliterations, Rajdeep, he seems to be learning from NM, the Narendra Modi, not the Nirantar Mehnat.
I just wanted to make a point. I think there is some truth in what Shehzad says about the politics of entitlement. I don't think that there are Congress people who don't work hard. I reject that. I think I've seen enough politicians right down the line across parties who work hard. The problem is, when you're in the opposition, the nature of your politics has to be very different to being when you're in a party in power. The Congress for most of the last 7 decades has been a party in power or believed that they are on the cusp of power. Even when they went out of power in 77, they knew that they could come back to power soon, because under Indira Gandhi's leadership and Morarji Desai on the other side, they felt, good times will return. The fact is, Narendra Modi is not Morarji Desai. And the present Gandhis are not Indira Gandhi. And India of the 21st century is not India of the 1970s. Half of this country is born after 1992. This is the post-liberalization generation, and the BJP, like it or not, in its own way, some may see the darker side of it, some may see the brighter side, has captured the zeitgeist of this new India. Whether it is through Hindutva politics, whether it is through the imagery of Narendra Modi, whether it is cultural nationalism, whether it is, there are various aspects to it, but they've captured that. Now you have to provide an alternate narrative and work at that, which goes beyond anti-Modism. Okay. You have to build your blocks. I was stunned 2 years ago when researching my book on the 2019 election. I was told there are 270 of the 720 districts, Rahul, in this country where the Congress's district organizations did not function. Now that's improbable in today's India because you have to micromanage elections. The BJP, there are 10 lakh booths across the country. The BJP goes to those booth levels, has built this concept of Panna Pramukhs. The Congress can do it. None of this is rocket science. But you need to be willing to spend the hard yards. There are congressmen who have the capacity. Empower them. You know, this is not a this won't happen in a year. But you've got to build towards that. Let me make a final point. And there I agree with Shehzad because in the Vajpayee-Advani era, the BJP lost election after election. But they stayed the course. And that's what you need to do in politics. Maidan mein raho and keep fighting in the belief that the wheel will turn, not automatically, but the wheel will turn if you work hard enough and convince people that you are credible enough. Otherwise, people will look for alternatives. Today's young India will look for alternatives. They don't have time for the India of Nehru and Indira. That's too far back. They want the India of today. Give them new ideas. Who knows? They may embrace those ideas.